So my father grew up really poor. He's from Iran, and he was like really poor. And his only goal in life was to get rich. That's all he ever wanted. And he came to the States with, I think, $100, and he, tried to get rich. And he became an insurance salesman, and he was actually really good at it. Like, he was like really successful, but he was so ambitious for more that he was always like fucking things up. And then he would like quit or get fired. And, he was basically a wreck. And he eventually had to declare bankruptcy. So he couldn't get a credit card. And I had a credit card. And one day he asked me, hey, could you put my name on your credit card as someone who can also use your credit card? And it actually was only $1,000 maximum that I had. And, he supported me through my whole life. He paid for college and stuff. Like I felt I owed him something. And I figured, what's the worst that can happen? He doesn't pay his bills and it's going to be $1,000. And, I didn't want to spend $1,000 on my father, but I figured that's the worst that could happen. So I said, okay, fine. And so I'm getting all these phone calls from these people saying, you haven't paid your credit card bill. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I did pay my credit card bill. And they said, no, you didn't. And I was like, it must be my dad's credit card bill, but it was all going to me. And I kept calling my dad and saying, Dad, I'm getting these calls. And he said, no, I did pay it. It's bullshit. Just ignore it. And I was like, Dad, come on. And he said, just tell them to call me. Just have it go to me directly and I'll deal with it. It's a mistake. Don't worry about it. So I finally told them, just call this other number and leave me alone. And they did. And I didn't hear from anybody for a long time. And I figured, okay, he paid his bills. Everything's fine. And then one day I get a bill and it says I owe $30,000. And I'm like, what? I go to my dad's and I say, what is this? They're saying you owe $30,000. And it was him and my half brother, who is also kind of like a crook and a gambler. And they both started laughing hysterically. And they couldn't stop laughing. And they were rolling on the ground laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? And they're laughing and they can't even talk. And then my dad says, yeah, I was $1,000, but I kept raising the limit because I couldn't pay the bill. And I raised it to 30,000. And then they finally said no more. So yeah, that's what happened. And they're just laughing and laughing and laughing. And I ended up having to pay that bill.